A revelation at the communion rail. As an artist, not a writer, I ask that you please bear with me as I recount this story from my past. And if you think the big reveal in this tale is all there is, guess again. I was 12, almost 13, that fateful day in 1982. Yes, the year of E.T., the Eye of the Tiger song, and the war in the Falklands. It was a sunny Sunday in June when my dad, Sal, my older brother, Alden, and I all attended mid-morning mass at St. John Sebastian's Catholic Church in Toms River, New Jersey. Before you get the idea we aren't typical Catholics, let me just say we all had our Catholic names, after saints, and our middle names, reflecting everything from old relatives to the doctors who delivered us. So it was officially, James Salvador Manion, John Alden Manion, and me, Matthew Garrity Manion. My mom, Frances Jean, or Jeannie, as Sal called her, had stayed home with my younger sisters, who had been up sick all night from a bad batch of lemon chicken from the sketchy Chinese restaurant Sal insisted we try. Why? Because you could get 2 entrees, rice, and lo mein for $2.99, to go only. I guess they didn't want you there should you need to rush to their bathroom. The sermon had felt like a never-ending trip to dreamland, and Alden nudged me awake more than once whenever I started to doze off. Sal, on the other hand, had slipped into one of his legendary snooze sessions, a deep rumble that made me think of a bear at rest. Mom had given up on trying to roll him over when he started to snore, opting instead for earplugs. As Father Pagucci wrapped up his lengthy sermon about the sins of the flesh, the kind I had been vaguely aware of since turning 11, it was finally time to kneel, hit the rail, and partake in Massachusetts. I always looked forward to the wine, something I considered a highlight of the service. While waiting in line for communion, things took an interesting turn. As we moved forward behind Mrs. Conception Gonzalez, the 93-year-old with an impeccable reputation for slowing down the whole operation, Sal grumbled under his breath about her walker. "Oh, it's just old Mrs. Gonzalez choking on the wafer again," Alden commented, craning his neck to get a look. "Ah, that rotten woman. First, she blocks half the aisle, now this." Sal hissed, loud enough that Mrs. Morales and Mrs. Trevino crossed themselves and shifted further down the rail away from us. "Great, Dad," I whispered back. "The rumor mill's gonna spread that we're cursed by the Spanish Inquisition. Is that all you ever think about? Food?" Sal snapped quietly. I didn't like standing up to Sal because he could be a bit rough with his hands, but I managed to quip, "No," which earned me a smirk from Alden. Then the conversation got even more interesting. "Ah, God, they're still whacking her on the back," Sal commented as we all stared at the commotion down the line. "Well, they really shouldn't. Cha-Cha's got osteoporosis," Alden said sympathetically. "Dad, don't forget to light a candle for Jenny's mom on our way out. She has that doctor's appointment on Monday, right?" Alden continued, having turned the focus onto another topic. "First, she had that weird pap smear, and now this?" I added, trying to keep the laughter rolling. "Don't say, pap smear, while we're kneeling here," Sal chastised, though the playful smirk on his face was hard to dismiss. After a few moments of awkward silence, Sal pressed, "So who is she, Alden? You didn't bring any girls home lately that I've seen." Alden hesitated, a bead of sweat forming on his brow. Something was brewing. Well, Dad, about that. It's not a girl." The tension in the air thickened, and I leaned in closer, sensing something monumental was about to happen. "It's a guy. I'm gay." "Gay?" The shocked shout echoed louder than intended, and Father Pagucci and altar boy Patrick, who had been just out of earshot, turned to look. Pagucci's eyes widened in disbelief, and without skipping a beat, he offered Sal the wafer. Sal, still recovering from the revelation, mechanically replied, "Body of Christ," as if it were an automatic response. From there, a ripple of chaos ensued, Alden taking a wafer, and then Patrick delivering the communion cup, which Sal gulped down, all while I sat on the sideline feeling a whirlwind of emotions. As we left the rail, a heavy silence hung in the air. Driving home, it felt like every word was a weight all its own until Sal finally burst out, "How can you be gay, Alden? You were by-district wrestling champ." Groans filled the car, and Alden replied, "Dad, wrestling? Sweaty guys grabbing each other." It was practically scripted. Gradually, reality began to take shape for Sal. "But how am I gonna tell your mother?" Alden shot back, "Mom already knows, Dad. I told her 2 years ago. I kept dating girls because I thought it would be easier on you." Silence reigned again for a few blocks as the realization sunk in for Sal. "But, Alden, how am I gonna explain this to everyone else?" he asked, desperate. "I don't want to be in a closet anymore." Alden's voice trembled, revealing the urgency behind his words. "I need to be myself." After a long pause, Sal placed his hand on Alden's shoulder, large and supportive. "I got your back, kid." It was a moment of grace that would forever change our family dynamics. As the years rolled on, Sal grew to accept Alden fully. To my kids, Alden was always their favorite uncle, the one who understood them and made them feel cherished. And it all started with that brave moment of revelation at the communion rail in 1982. The following weeks were a blend of contemplation and hope for Alden, Sal, and me. It wasn't long before the initial shock wore off and reality set in. As summer arrived, with its long days and rich, warm nights, our family dynamics began to shift. The change was palpable not just at home but in the way we related to one another. Alden grew more confident, braver in expressing who he was. He decided he wanted to come out to a few close friends before he announced it to the wider school circle. I admired his courage. My brother, once shy about his interests, was blossoming into someone willing to stand tall in his truth. I was there to support him, often the first to bolster his spirits with laughter. "Do you ever worry about what they'll say?" I asked one evening while we sat on the back porch, watching the fireflies dance against the golden hues of dusk. "Nah," Alden replied, leaning back in his chair, his arms behind his head. "If they can't accept me for who I am, they didn't deserve my friendship in the first place." I pondered this for a moment. "Do you think Dad will be okay if you tell him you want to start a support group? You know, for kids who might feel like outsiders like you did?" Alden chuckled softly. With how well he handled my revelation, "I think he'll be on board." Remember that terrified look on his face? We both laughed at the memory, imagining Sal fumbling through the myriad of familiar phrases while secretly trying to process everything. I could see it now, him trying to advocate for acceptance, yet wrestling inside to understand what it all meant. And then came the day when Alden decided he was ready to introduce Joey, his study partner, to the family at a casual Sunday dinner. I watched as he prepared nervously in front of the mirror, adjusting his shirt and running a hand through his hair. "Just be yourself," I told him, watching as he fiddled with the collar. "Easier said than done," he sighed. When Joey arrived, I couldn't help but beam at the two of them. They were a perfect fit. Joey was bright-eyed and easily filled the room with laughter. Sal could immediately see that there was something authentic and heartfelt between them. Instead of the anxiousness I had expected, it turned into an evening of jokes, shared stories, and unexpected connections. "Did you see the way he looked at Alden?" I whispered to Mom during a rare quiet moment at the table. "I did," she replied, a glimmer in her eye. "It's nice to see him happy. And to think, all it took was a little courage." That night ended with Alden and Joey sharing a hug, a gesture that encapsulated the unspoken bond they were forging. I felt warmth surge through me, knowing that our family was evolving, embracing this newfound path. As the weeks turned into months, Alden's confidence continued to grow. With occasional nudges from Dad, he became active in discussions at school, navigating the complexities of young adulthood and LGBTQ+ identities. To my surprise, Sal came home one day after attending a presentation at our local church about acceptance and understanding. "Are you thinking about joining a parent group, Dad?" Alden asked, raising an eyebrow, holding back a smile. I just figured it might help, Sal admitted, scratching the back of his head. I want to understand better, and I don't want to look for facts on the internet, he added, looking at Alden sincerely. Months passed, and soon, it became time for Alden to deliver a speech to the student body at the start of a new school year during their diversity week. I watched from the audience, an overwhelming sense of pride swelling in my chest. Hey guys, I know we come from all different backgrounds and experiences, Alden began, standing confidently before his peers. I want to share a part of me that I've kept hidden for way too long. I am gay, and that's just one aspect of who I am. The crowd grew quiet as he continued, weaving his narrative of struggle and acceptance, explaining how important it was to embrace oneself unapologetically. He spoke to the universal themes of love and kindness, reminding everyone that we all deserve to be accepted for who we truly are. When Alden finished, the room erupted in applause. I turned to look at Sal, who was blinking back tears, his cheeks flushed with both pride and admiration. He reached over and squeezed my shoulder, silently communicating the acceptance he now learned to embrace. That night, we held a small family gathering to celebrate Alden's courage and to support him in his journey. The laughter echoed throughout the house as we shared stories and toasted to acceptance, love, and the strength of family. In the years that followed, Alden and Joey continued to thrive together, becoming the supportive couple you'd find volunteering at local LGBTQ+ events, mentoring younger teenagers grappling with their identities. They eventually moved in together, making a home that felt warm and inviting, filled with laughter and love. As for Sal and Mom, they became allies in the community, advocates for understanding and acceptance, fiercely protective of their family while also opening their arms to others in need of support. As I look back on that sunny Sunday in June 1982, I realize what started as a difficult moment transformed into a recognizable journey of love and acceptance, a testament to growth and the power of being true to oneself. It became a cornerstone memory, reminding us all that sometimes, bravery ignites a spark of change that can illuminate the darkest corners. And I, the artist turned chronicler, am forever grateful for the profound story unfolding in my own family, all beginning at the communion rail that fateful day. As the years rolled on, Alden and Joey's relationship deepened, much to the delight of our family. They became staples at our gatherings, always ready with a quirky game, remembering everyone's birthdays, and hosting movie nights that turned into laughter-filled escapades. Their home became a haven for friends and family alike, a place where everyone felt welcome and accepted. Sal, once the intimidating figure who struggled to understand the words gay and pride, transformed into the champion we never knew he could be. His journey started with Alden, but soon he found joy in learning about the LGBTQ+ community, educating himself, and attending workshops. The man who once thought that being in the closet was the norm became an advocate who spoke readily about acceptance, often sharing his knowledge with others. One evening, I sat with my parents in the backyard as the sun dipped below the horizon. Sal was flipping burgers on the grill, while Mom created her famous potato salad inside. There was a gentle warmth in the air as we exchanged stories, marveling at how much our lives had changed. Can you believe it's been almost a decade since that day at church? I asked, grinning. Sal chuckled, resting his spatula on the grill. I still remember the look on my face when Alden dropped the bomb. I thought my heart was going to leap from my chest. You handled it well, Dad, I replied, teasingly. It was the dramatic effect we all needed. Yeah, well, I had to get used to that shock. And it was all worth it to see how happy Alden is now, he smiled, glancing at the house where Alden and Joey were decorating for the evening barbecue. Our family traditions shifted alongside our understanding of love. Celebrations became a blend of pride for Alden and Joey, with rainbow decorations woven seamlessly into our family's design. At Thanksgiving, we discussed not only gratitude but also inclusion, ensuring everyone felt valued at the table. Slowly, our circle of relatives and friends expanded. Mom started her book club focusing on LGBTQ+ literature, sparking thought-provoking discussions that often stretched into the wee hours of the night. Sal organized community outings, encouraging men to share their own struggles and journeys of acceptance. All of this meant that our whole family, even the extended one, was on this enlightening path together. The summer of 1995 marked another significant milestone, Alden and Joey's wedding day. Our family gathered in a charming garden just outside Tom's River, decorated with twinkling fairy lights and vibrant flowers. It was a beautiful day filled with laughter, love, and warmth as friends and family celebrated their union. Each corner of the venue echoed stories of triumph, acceptance, and newfound love. The ceremony was personal and meaningful, reflecting not just who Alden and Joey were as individuals but as a couple. I watched proudly as Alden exchanged vows, heartwarming words filled with promises of love and support. Joey, equally emotional, responded with sincerity that melted my heart. As they shared their first kiss as a married couple under the gentle sway of the evening breeze, I noticed Sal teary-eyed from where he stood, joy radiating from his being. Mom gripped his hand, understanding their mutual sentimental celebration. In that moment, I knew that every step Alden had taken, every challenge he faced, played a part in shaping not just his life, but ours. Later, as the night unfolded, I caught a glimpse of Alden and Joey dancing to their favorite song Under the Stars. Their smiles, genuine and radiant, reminded me of the bond we had all forged. The laughter of family, mixed with the sounds of clinking glasses and joyous banter, filled my heart with hope. Hours passed, and the festivities reached their peak. I stood at the sidelines, drink in hand, soaking it all in. It was surreal, almost too beautiful for words. I felt a sense of fulfillment, realizing that love in its many forms could spur us forward, binding us stronger than before. As the party began to wind down, I found my family gathered near a fire pit, bathed in flames flickering against the night sky. Alden, Joey, Sal, and Mom shared stories while powder blue skies turned to deep indigo, dotted with stars. There was love, laughter, and an unspoken promise of togetherness that the years ahead would bring. Never would I have imagined what this journey would lead to, Sal commented, raising his glass in a toast. Here's to family, love, and learning. To family, we all echoed, clinking our glasses in cheers. As the night deepened, I felt a wave of gratitude wash over me. I may have set out to document a moment for our family, but what began at that communion rail transcended mere words. It became a tapestry of love, acceptance, and growth. Every story unearthed an echo of strength, reminding us that every step forward was one toward a brighter future. No longer would we hide, we celebrated our identities, our choices, and the undeniable bond that connected us all. And with that, I realized that our story was never just about one revelation, it was about a continual evolution guided by love. It was a powerful reminder that every fear faced, every truth embraced, and every moment shared would lead us to where we were meant to be, together, forever united by love.